Hi guys. Um, Good morning. It is still morning here in Chicago, and it's a snowstorm outside. Um, I'm coming to you all this morning on a very, very serious subject, and that subject is domestic violence. We can call it DV. I was a victim of domestic violence for 14 years. Excuse me. I met this man when I was 13 years old. By the time I was 15, I was pregnant with my first child. I was a high school dropout, and I was getting beaten. Domestic violence is when one intimate partner tries to control the other partner through physical, emotional, mental, and verbal abuse. There's also sexual abuse. I'll tell you about that one too. I have been doing a podcast. My podcast is on Anchor. It's entitled Who is Mama Lucy? And I chose Who is Mama Lucy. It's my nickname that my Uncle Joe gave me. And I chose Mama Lucy because Mama Lucy went through a lot of trauma in her life. She went through a lot of trials and tribulations. I'm shocked that she even survived and that she is doing well now. But my podcast is season 1, and I just finished up episode 7. I'll be doing episode 8 tonight. But I wanted to do a video because domestic violence is serious. Domestic violence is a very serious silent killer, is what I call it. And a lot of people are victims of domestic violence, but they don't say anything because people judge them, so they suffer in silence. People quick to say, I wouldn't stay with nobody that hit me. Well, domestic violence is not always the physical at first. It's verbal. It's the verbal abuse that gets you. Please excuse my language. The verbal abuse that got me, and like I said, please forgive my language. He called me a dumb, stupid bitch. He said I was a black bitch. He said that no other man would want me and my kids, but he and I had 6 kids together. He said I was a stupid bitch for getting pregnant and that I ruined his life. I used to wear the color yellow. He told me yellow was for whores. That's what he told me. He told me that no matter where I go, he would find me and kill me. That's what he said to me. He said he would make my face what no other man would want me. I breathed and believed everything this man told me. Yes, I did. I did. I lost all my friends and family because he started telling me that they were jealous of our relationship. That was a lie. That was just his way of isolating me from everybody to get me by himself so he can do whatever he wanted to do to me. I'm going to give you all some facts, just a couple of facts and a couple of myths regarding domestic violence. Here's a fact, one fact about domestic violence. If you are a victim, look at me. It is not your fault. It is not your fault. I'm going to say it again. It is not your fault. Number 2 fact. Every 8 seconds, a woman is beaten in the U.S. from DV. Every 8 seconds. Now, I've never been good at math, but you all can do the math. Every 8 seconds in 1 hour. That's how many times a woman is beaten. Myths about domestic violence is that men are not victims. That's a myth. Men are victims of domestic violence. The reason we say with men because we think men are some type of machine or robot and they don't have any feelings. Not true. Men cry, they laugh, they get sad, they get happy. They don't always wear their feelings on their sleeve, but men have feelings too. And the myth is that they can't be victims. Another myth is that domestic violence only happened to a certain group of people. That's a myth. Domestic violence don't care if you live in a mansion in Beverly Hills. Domestic violence don't care if you live in Cabrini Green. Domestic violence don't care if you have a platinum MasterCard. Domestic violence don't care if you got an EBT card. Domestic violence is no respect to person. It can happen. You probably have a friend or a relative or a co-worker that is going through domestic violence right now. But they suffer in silence because if we live in a society where they judge you, we live in a hypocritical society. And that's why people don't come forward. Now, my situation, the reason I didn't come forward, I can give you countless reasons why I didn't say anything. The number one reason why I didn't say anything is because I feared him. And because I was in love with him at the same time. I know it sounds crazy, but I was. He told me that wherever I go in life, he will find me and kill me. He told me he didn't care about the police. He didn't care about no order of protections. He didn't care about any of that. And so you need to think about that. So when people say leave, it's not that simple. Leaving them can be actually a dangerous time. You have to gradually get out the situation. You have to plan it. And you may be a strong woman or a strong man who don't put up with it. But everybody ain't strong. Everybody ain't strong like that. I wasn't. And I know people who not strong like that. Maybe nobody has ever hit you and you ain't gonna play that. That's kudos to you. That's wonderful. But we gotta help the people who are not as strong as you or whomever. We have to help them. I chose to share my testimony and my story because there are myths out there, there are facts, and there are truths. And then I just want people to know. It relieves me. Every time I share my testimony, my story, whatever you want to call it, it releases, and I left him back in 1996, but I'm still going through the effects, and I know that's a long time. Therapist once told me it take a woman or a victim at least 10 years to get themselves together after being in a DV relationship. I'm going to tell you all about one incident, and I'm going to end the video. I don't want it to be too long. I was 17 years old. I was pregnant, and I had 2 kids already. Yes, 17, pregnant with 2 kids already, so I was on my 3rd baby. We lived in Cabrini Green Projects, 9th floor, 904, either 906. He came home. He walked in the door. He said, guess what? I got a job. I said, I'm happy for you, and kissed him on the jaw. And then I went and sat down in our bedroom. Now, I always knew when I was about to be beaten. Sad to say, but I did. It's like when it's about to be a storm because the wind blow through the trees, so you see the trees blowing, and you can smell the rain, so you know a storm about to come. That's how that was in my life. Scary, scary situation. He walked in the room and he said, you act like you're not happy. I got a job. And I said, I'm happy, but I'm tired. He took a Vaseline grease jar and threw it at me. Now, you all know back then Vaseline grease jars came glass. He threw it at me. And so I'm trying to see, it was this arm, you all. He threw it, and there's the mark still to this day. This was 33 years ago, and it's gotten better. And then I'm dark, so you really can't see, but it's right there. I put my hand up so it couldn't hit me in the face. He saw that didn't work. He took a crate, the milk crate. The guys play ball with the milk crate. He threw that at me. I moved out the way. He grabbed me from behind right here and yanked me off the bed to the floor and proceeded to stomp me and stomp me and stomp me. He didn't stop stomping me because I'm a woman. I'm the mother of your children. I'm pregnant. He didn't stop stomping me. I'm another human being and I don't deserve this. He didn't stop stomping me because my 2-year-old was watching. He stopped stomping me when he got tired. Can you imagine somebody stomping you or beating you until they're tired? I After he was finished, I laid on that floor. The inside of me died at that moment. My 2-year-old grabbed me and held me tight. I can see it right now. He held me tight, and I held on to him. Can you imagine holding on to a 2-year-old for strength? That's what I did. I was crying inside for him, for my other son that was laying in the bed asleep, and for my daughter that I was carrying. I wasn't crying for me. I got up eventually off that floor. My 2-year-old and I hugged each other. I held him, went and sat on the bed and held him until he fell asleep. And then I laid him in the bed. The person that abused me, I can't say his name. We're going to call him Jay. He was in the living room. He fell asleep. You know what I did? I took a blanket and put it on him. You all, I was gullible. I was naive. I was a teenager. I had low self-esteem. I didn't love myself. I had so much going on. I didn't tell my family and friends. And you know why I didn't tell them? He put in my head that they was jealous of us, so he isolated me from them. And that was just to get me by myself so he can do whatever he wanted to do to me. I went through a lot. And I feel the need to tell my testimony, my story, whatever you want to call it. Domestic violence is real. It's serious. It takes lives. It destroys lives. The kids suffer. My son saw a lot of things when he was at a very, very young age. Eventually, I left this person, got up enough strength to start fighting back in the end, and I left him in 1996. This is 2020, and I still feel the effects of that abusive relationship. I talked to a therapist, and she said it takes a woman at least 10 years, or a victim at least 10 years, to get their self together after being in a domestic violence situation. Let me say this to you. There may be a family member, a co-worker, a friend who is going through DV. Just listen to them. Don't judge them. Just listen. Listen and hold them. You never know. You may save their life by just listening. People say why they don't just leave. It's not that easy. You have to gradually leave an abuser. They're very charming people, but you have to be careful because they don't care about the police, order protections. They don't care about anything. And so I'm going to continue to upload these videos. I'm going to continue with my podcast. I'm going to get the word out. If you want to inbox me. I will not share your story, your testimony, whatever with anybody. I'll do the best I can to help you out the best way that I know how. Let's knock this DV out the park. Let's get this out of here. Until my next video, you all have a wonderful day on purpose.